emotionally. We have reservoirs that some of us have not tapped into before because, unlike the physical, our other areas do not develop by autopilot. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of strategies, a lot of trial and error. Yes. But we get there, and the goal is to always be growing. Any athlete knows all a coach can do is unleash what was already inside. As your Zennurgy catalyst, I will connect you with tools through interviews, and I have Miss Saran Adams here with me.
Hello,
so say hi
hello.
to the people.
Hi, people.
All right, and
beautiful people.
Yeah, beautiful people out there in Facebook land, our Facebook family. And she's like my teammate today because, we need teammates to get through life. We cannot get through this life alone. We have to network. We have to build relationships. We have to learn from each other, because I think the greatest resource we have on earth is humans and the life stories of people and their experiences, what they've learned from all these different situations. So a coach does not work alone. Teammates are essential. And this is also an interactive toolbox. We are local. I live in Spring, but I'm all over Houston. And where's your shop located?
My shop is in 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas, now Midtown. But I am on Emancipation of 4213 Emancipation. So come and see me.
Yeah, so we are local and we are on social media. So, if you have any comments, you can be chatting comments in the live and we can respond to you later on. You can take down our social media information. You can see mine on the signs above, but she's going to tell you later how to get in contact with her. All right. And I will also tag her when I post this live later. So again, you can look back at it and see, where you can find her on Facebook or on her other social media pages. So this is interactive. We want to get to know you. We want to be able to help you. We want to be a resource for you because, again, who knows what you know that we need, and what we have, we want to offer to you. So we definitely want to be a community that's working together, that's building together. We want to have that Zennurgy. All right. So we are, in a sense, in training. Life is I call it the game of life. We want to win at the game of life, but we're also kind of in sense in training, trying to become who we want to be. And sometimes we're successful at that and sometimes we falter, but we are always moving forward. So we're going to begin today. We are still in the A's. We're doing the ABCs of Zennurgy. So we're going to be in the A's for a little bit longer. Then we're going to move on to the B's. And if you have some A's that you want us to talk about on a different show, you know what I'm saying? You can put those down in the comments too, because again, this is interactive. So today's focus is appreciation.
Appreciation.
And Miss Saran is the one who suggested that. Now, I'm going to tell you first my take on appreciation, and I'm going to let her share. She gave me a bio about herself, and I'm going to let her tell you that, when she introduces herself. But one thing that she said that really stood out to me is that when she was 2 years old, she was sitting on a window ledge in the kitchen. Her mom was cooking and she was swinging her legs and she fell out of the window, and it happened to be 2 stories up. And I can just picture as a mother how my heart would drop, my 2-year-old falling out of the window. Oh my gosh. And she said she was fine. She felt like she was just enveloped in a light, in a protection, and she was checked out and everything was fine with her. And it actually made me think about something that happened to me. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, I went to California for the first time. And California has some high hills, some mountains and things like that. And so we were leaving to come back home, and I had been sleeping. I had been knocked out in the back seat. We stopped at this rest stop, and I got out, and I guess I didn't close the door completely behind me. And this is in like 1976. So you didn't have all those warnings that we have now. You have warnings on your car for every little thing. Your windows down, your car, your tires low. You just got a dashboard full of information. But back in the 70s, we didn't have that. So we got in the car. I fell back asleep. My parents are driving, and I guess my dad was driving around this winding road, and we're over there. There's
Lord.
No railing, and somehow the door flies open, and I fly out.
Oh, Lord.
And I end up on the ledge with a huge drop below me. And I woke up because I hit the ground. And I don't really remember that much of this story. My parents told me this story. And sometimes they would joke that I acted bad because I got hit on the head really hard, so they would joke with me about that. But my dad had to get a rope out of the car and kind of feed it down to me. And they're like, don't look down, don't look down. And of course, as a kid, you're going to look down. You're going to do the thing that they tell you not
Absolutely.
to do. So I was petrified, but I climbed up the rope and I got back to the car. My mom was like, we got to take her to the hospital. She could have a broken bone. She could be. And my dad was like, let's dust her off. She's fine. She's fine. We need to get on home. So they didn't take me anywhere, but obviously I'm fine, and I could have died that day, I could have died that day. I still have a fear of heights.
Intervention.
Yeah. So when she told that story, it made me think about that. I hadn't thought about that in a long time. And, there are so many things, people talk about 9/11 and how they had a feeling not to go that day. Or sometimes you are running late and then you see if you would have been on time, there was an accident right up on the road ahead of you.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even know what we're being saved from.
Absolutely.
We don't even know what we're being saved from. So when I think about appreciation, I think the most basic form of appreciation is being appreciative that we are alive.
Absolutely.
That she is here and I am here.
Absolutely.
Because there was a good chance I wouldn't be here. And also to go back even further than that, when my mother got pregnant, I'm going to tell you a little story. My mother went to Spelman College and she was engaged to be married to this young black man. And he graduated the year before she did. And when he graduated, he said, I've come to a conclusion. I really shouldn't have proposed to you because a white woman will really help me further my career better than a black woman. So I've decided that I need to go out and find me a white woman. And we just can't be together. And my mother was so devastated that she left Spelman. She came back to live with her parents. And she decided to go to Southern University. And in this chaotic mental and emotional state, she met my father. And my father was kind of the life of the party, a ladies' man. And, my mother is this very beautiful, light-skinned, could almost pass for white woman. And my dad is dark as Wesley Snipes. So my grandparents didn't want her to have anything to do with him, But
that's that colorism in the family.
The colorism, right? Definitely the colorism. But my mother, for some reason, was attracted to him and wasn't thinking about a serious relationship at all. She was in a state of trying to get over having her heart be broken. My dad wasn't thinking about a serious relationship at all because he's looking at this woman who's had her heart broken. And they just happen to be hanging out, having fun, and she ends up pregnant. About 7 weeks after she came back from Spelman. And my dad's looking at the timing of that. I don't know. That's kind of...
Do your mom and dad know you telling their business?
They do. They have passed on, but I'm telling the story for a reason. I'm telling the story for a reason because this story impacted my life greatly. Right. So my dad has actually decided he's going to break up with my mother. Because he's thinking that I may not be his child. But he comes to drop her off at home. And the house they lived in, it has stairs going up to the second floor where you could watch somebody walk up the stairs. And so he sees the door open. He sees my mother's father, my grandfather, come out the door, red face, and start beating my mother with his fist. And my dad walks up the stairs, gets my mother, and says, that could be my child. I cannot leave you here. You are not safe here. We're going to go to the courthouse and get married. You know, that's the kind of man my father was. He believed in duty. He believed in doing the right thing. He believed in sacrifice.
Right.
You know, and so that kind of hung over my life. Like, I interrupted both my parents' lives. And it was kind of a difficulty because they never, in a sense, intended to be together. And so they had this very difficult relationship. But going back to appreciation, I had to appreciate both of them once I got older, because my mother could have aborted me.
Absolutely.
My father could have left my mother in that situation. She could have had a very difficult life. My grandparents began to love me after a while, but I was the most chocolate thing in the family when I was born. So they were not happy about that. You know, so I had to, going back to appreciation, sometimes people, and I am guilty of this too, we have a easy time with gratitude. We have an easy time with, oh, my life is great. Right. It's a beautiful day. I'm grateful for that. Right. But appreciation to me is being able to see the good even in the bad.
Absolutely.
Being able to see how certain situations helped you grow. Because I didn't have an easy childhood. I didn't have an easy upbringing, but I can see how all of that made me grow.
Right.
And I could see how it made me find value in myself, because on the outside, there were times when I kind of felt like I was unwanted,
Right.
But I had to look to God. I had to look inside. I had to look, for other things. And so, what do you want to say about appreciation?
Well, it's funny how you say that, your dad and the way your mom and dad came together. Because my mom and dad is sort of similar story. They waited till prom, though, to... They had never, because my dad was a ladies' man, but they were friends. They would walk by and say hi, make a joke about each other. But ended up, my dad ended up asking my mom to his prom because he was a year older. And that night, here I go. And it's so crazy because the colorism that's in families is, it's horrible. My mom's mom wanted her to abort me. So I always say I was fighting in the womb to even be here. So I'm very appreciative that I made it here, for the simple fact a lot of spirits don't get to embody a human space here. So I'm grateful, appreciative. So what I have to say about being appreciative, as well, I didn't have an easy life. So I went from house to house. So appreciative that my grandmother took in all the grandbabies, because our parents were still doing their thing, from having me so young, So she took up, there was 4 of us in the house, 2 girls and 2 boys. I appreciate the love that she showed when no one else felt like, because you can feel very unwanted when people are passing you around. Oh, she too much, she did, she did. And I really wasn't a bad kid. Very unconfrontational. Didn't know about fighting. My heart wanted to love everybody and everything. I am still that way, but I had to get back to me to get back to that place. my grandmother showed me something that was just so special, and I am so appreciative of that.
Mm.
Um, there has been relationships that have been.
Give the gift of lift. Lift people up. Lift people up so when they look at your shirt, they look at your mug, they get an inspiring message. They're lifted.